11. An ironic encounter. Police body cam footage from 2022 showed a pair of officers walking up to a man and a woman at a store in what looks to be Las Cruces, New Mexico. In a hushed tone, one of the officers asked the couple if they were taking off tags from clothing. The man denied that they were doing anything wrong and responded by handing the officers a pair of pants he was looking at as proof that he wasn't taking any tags off. As the man bent over to pick something off of his shoe at the officer's requests, the police saw something that concerned them, so they decided to physically restrain him. The young woman he was shopping with was also handcuffed as a result. Several pieces of suspected stolen merchandise were discovered in her pockets, and she was arrested for shoplifting. In an ironic twist, the woman told an officer that her first name was actually Honesty while she was being questioned. She didn't want to tell the officer her boyfriend's name and was surprised to find out that she could be charged for obstruction and held in jail for refusing to reveal the information. Although she eventually coughed up the man's name, the suspect was told that she could have simply worked with the police in the first place. If she had, she would have walked away with only a low-level citation. Instead, she faced a more serious charge and the possibility of being held at county lockup while waiting for her court hearing. 10. William Dickey and Tara Eucifero. In 2021, William Dickey II, a 39-year-old Providence, Rhode Island police officer, and his wife, Tara Eucifero, were accused of stealing merchandise from a Lowe's store location in Warwick. According to the authorities, the couple left with about $66 worth of insulation and an air conditioner worth $380. Surveillance cameras captured what seemed to show Dickey leaving the store without paying for the items. Both suspects turned themselves in after realizing they were wanted, and Dickey was suspended without pay while his case played out in court. They pleaded not guilty, but were ultimately convicted of the crime in early 2022. According to a court agreement, Dickey and Eucifero agreed to pay fees connected to the theft instead of serving jail time. And as long as they stayed out of trouble for an entire year, the case would be dismissed. 9. Eva Pena. In September 2019, a 37-year-old NYPD sergeant named Eva Pena was taken into custody for allegedly stealing $360 worth of clothes from a Macy's in Yonkers, just north of the Bronx. A loss prevention worker stopped the cop, who was off duty at the time, as she left the store. According to an internal report, surveillance footage captured a guard pulling items out of the woman's purse. At the time, Pena was earning an annual salary of $107,000 for patrolling the New York City Housing Authority projects. She had recently posed for multiple photos in a skimpy outfit with then Police Commissioner James O'Neill for an event. Her life got a lot less glamorous, though, after her arrest for petty larceny, which was immediately followed by her suspension from the force. Pena accused the store's staff of targeting her simply because she's Dominican. She also accused an undercover security guard of attacking her in the dressing room and shouting that they hated the police. But as far as law enforcement was concerned, the surveillance footage spoke for itself. In the words of Assistant Deputy Commissioner of Trials Josh Kleinman, Pena seemed calm as a cucumber when she left the dressing room and kept shopping. He concluded that her claims against the store's employees were probably unlikely, implausible, and bizarre. Pena later filed a civil lawsuit claiming that she was followed by security guards while she shopped, but that nobody actually saw her commit a crime. In early 2023, the current police commissioner, Keechant Sewell, signed off on Pena's dismissal from the job. The court chaos seems to be ongoing. 8. Sierra Zerb. During a 2022 family shopping trip to a Burlington coat factory in Las Vegas, a woman and her 2 children were suddenly faced with a barrage of pepper spray. The trio were about to walk into the store when they noticed the alarm was going off thanks to a shoplifting incident. According to media reports, the suspect was seen leaving the store with a cart full of stolen merchandise. When the woman noticed that the shoplifter was parked in the space right next to her and was loading clothes into the trunk of their vehicle, she asked an employee if they wanted her to take a picture of the suspect's license plate. The worker said yes, so the Good Samaritan whipped out her phone and started recording. She was quickly confronted by the shoplifter, who asked the woman twice if she had a problem with something, and then deployed the pepper spray. The suspect, a young woman named Zerb, fled the scene in her car and was later arrested outside an apartment building. 7. Charles Brito. New York City retailers are used to handling shoplifters, especially in tourist hotspots. One morning in July 2023, a 50-year-old homeless man and serial shoplifter named Charles Brito went into a CVS store in Times Square. A confrontation between Brito and one of the store's security guards, 46-year-old Scotty Eno, quickly escalated into violence, eventually turning deadly. The security guard stabbed Brito to death during what he said was an act of self-defense. According to Eno, Brito pummeled him in an unprovoked attack while trying to steal some creamer, giving the employee no choice but to use deadly force. Authorities still charged Eno with murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Tensions between Brito and Eno had been brewing for weeks before the crime, according to Eno's lawyer, who later claimed that Brito threatened to kill his client repeatedly. At least 4 or 5 times, Eno confronted Brito while he was trying to steal and told him not to. But Eno didn't even get a chance to approach Brito, according to the defendant's lawyer, who claimed that Brito came at his client already swinging. After being held at Rikers for several days, Eno was freed on a $100,000 bond. Pending the outcome of his case, Eno suffers from sickle cell anemia, but has held steady employment since he immigrated to the U.S. from Grenada over a decade ago. Before his arrest, he worked multiple jobs to support his family. One of his bosses paid his bail. Charles Brito's family told the New York Post that they tried everything to get the victim off drugs, but nothing helped. Brito's father, 75-year-old Juan Brito, said that he occasionally wired his son money and helped with food, but that his son lived a tragedy. Unfortunately, he also died tragically. 6. Matthias Pena. Over a month-long period that started in May 2023, a pair of shoplifters stole at least $4,000 worth of shoes from a Nike factory store in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. During the first theft, employees reported that a suspect made off with 28 pairs of shoes. About a month later, the same 2 people returned to the store and left with 9 more pairs of shoes that they didn't pay for. Investigators later identified one of the suspects as a 22-year-old man from Bridgeton, New Jersey, named Matthias Pena. He was soon taken into custody by the New Jersey State Police and extradited back to Delaware, where he now faces charges of felony shoplifting, over $1,500, shoplifting, under $1,500, as well as organized retail crime. Matthias Pena remains free on an unsecured $2,000 bond while waiting for his next court date. 5. Lisa French. A Connecticut woman whose history of thefts dates all the way back to 1992. Found herself facing her most serious charges ever in 2023. The incident started when Manchester police saw a woman matching the description of a suspect who was wanted for shoplifting. The thief robbed a Dick's Sporting Goods just a few hours earlier. They approached the individual, who was in a stolen car being driven by 51-year-old Lisa French, the woman with the shoplifting record. According to police, French stopped her friend from getting out of the vehicle and sped off as police tried to take the woman into custody. French is now accused of striking a nearby officer and pinning him between 2 cars. She also allegedly hit several police vehicles and at least 1 civilian vehicle before she and her friend ditched the car and escaped on foot. Both suspects were later captured at a nearby Hampton Inn, where a police dog found them hiding behind some curtains on the hotel's 3rd floor. A warrant said that both women had cocaine in their possession at the time of their arrests. Authorities charged French with multiple crimes, including attempted assault on an officer and first-degree reckless endangerment. During her hearing, her public defender explained that his client was unemployed and struggled with substance abuse and mental health. The prosecutor described French as a habitual offender who had faced larceny, forgery, impersonation, and other charges. French remains behind bars on $150,000 bail. 4. Booze theft ring busted. Over a 9-month period that started in 2021, a group of 5 alleged thieves stole around 70,000 pounds, or $89,000 worth of alcohol from stores across England. During each raid, the suspects took anywhere between 2,000 and 5,000 pounds, $2,600 and $6,400 worth of goods. Each group member played a role in the heists, and they used both earpieces and cell phones to carefully coordinate their movements, ensuring that there was a getaway car waiting nearby. The first 2 arrests happened in February 2022, when Alin Chika and Ionut Razvan George were picked up on suspicion of shoplifting from a store in Kent. Police then launched an investigation and discovered through CCTV footage that the suspects were part of a bigger operation. Based on their findings, 3 more suspects were arrested: Valeriu Kobzarenku, Andrei Stefan, and Vincentiu George. The defendants received varying sentences ranging from 1.5 years to 2 years and 1 month. 3. Richard Quickstra. Retail theft has become a huge issue throughout the United States in recent years, and it only seems to be getting worse. Authorities are putting a large portion of the blame on habitual offenders, who seem to not stop stealing no matter how many times they get in trouble for it. In Grand Rapids, Michigan, investigators pointed the finger at a serial shoplifter named Richard Quickstra, who had dozens of theft convictions under his belt dating back to 1988. According to prosecutors, Quickstra went right back to stealing immediately after being released from prison in January. He's accused of going on a crime spree all over the metro Grand Rapids region, racking up 9 retail fraud cases over just a few months. A few of the cases came with felony-level charges. Felony retail fraud can come with a 5-year sentence in Michigan, and the sentence can be increased based on prior convictions. Quickstra's recent thefts range from allegedly taking 18 packs of beer to making off with thousands of dollars worth of items. In most cases, he was reportedly recognized by several loss prevention employees. He has since pleaded not guilty and is in the process of facing the cases in court. 2. Ismael Flores. Over a 5-month period that started in October 2022, Victoria's Secret and Target stores in Phoenix and Tempe, Arizona, were robbed by a serial thief. According to court documents, 23-year-old Ismael Flores stuffed pants and underwear into a garbage bag and left stores without paying multiple times. He is also accused of leaving stores with shopping carts full of stolen merchandise. Investigators have identified at least 17 alleged incidents at Victoria's Secret stores alone, not counting the Target thefts. The suspect made off with anywhere from $200 to $2,300 worth of goods each time he stole. When police officers took Flores into custody, he allegedly had suspected fentanyl pills and drug paraphernalia on his person. This is far from the young man's first rodeo with the law. As of his most recent arrest, Flores had 43 prior shoplifting cases on his record. He now faces almost 24 counts in connection to his alleged crime spree, including 19 counts of organized retail theft, 2 counts of shoplifting, and 1 count of drug possession. 1. Eva Conway. A Nordstrom store located in Nashville, Tennessee, lost almost $20,000 worth of handbags at the hands of shoplifters in May 2023. According to arrest documents, 2 women were seen walking into the store and heading in separate directions. They are accused of stealing 10 handbags with a cumulative value worth $18,224. Authorities identified one of the suspects as Eva Conway, an alleged serial shoplifter who had been charged in several past cases. In 2015, she was accused of working with 2 other women to steal over $2,000 worth of goods from a JCPenney's. She was also arrested in Murfreesboro in connection to a string of retail store thefts. Police reportedly found more than $10,000 worth of items in the woman's trunk. At the time, there were already warrants out for her arrest for allegedly stealing over $5,800 worth of stuff from a Victoria's Secret store, as well as several other shoplifting incidents. In December 2022, Conway was accused of stealing $3,000 worth of perfume from an Ultra Beauty store in Hendersonville. In connection to the Nordstrom theft, Conway faces charges of theft of merchandise, probation violation, criminal impersonation, and failure to appear. Thanks for watching. If you were out shopping with a friend and they got busted for stealing, but you had no knowledge of it and had nothing to do with it, would you ever go shopping with that person again? Or would you steer clear of them? Let us know in the comments below.